Welcome back to Chillporeal. I am your host, Brian, the Nerdporeal life form himself. And for the third time, we've got Justin, the legend of the owner of Leo himself, Legend of Leo. How you doing?
Great, Brian. Thank you for having me.
So I figure we just had to complete this trilogy. So
Yeah,
we've been doing these for like I think like we've been doing these like yearly.
this is the
So
third year. Yeah.
this is the third year. So is this going to be Return of the Jedi or Return of the King or Revenge of the Sith? if you're a prequel person, so
Uh,
um, but yeah, I figured today we talked quite a bit about breaking down games and all that before, and we'll still talk about games tonight. But we're gonna also get into other media as well, what we like about it.
mm.
So I figure we start with start talking about movies. I listened to our last stream. I still have not watched the Truman Show. I know you love the Truman Show.
Mm. You're one step ahead of me because you could at least remember, or even if you watched it back, you can remember what we talked about. I don't recall any of your movie recommendations, and I haven't watched anything. I've probably watched 3 movies, honestly, in the last calendar year.
Oh, really? What did
So,
you watch?
okay. I watched Dune Part 1, and that
Oh,
actually
the
might
the new one or the
the
well, is
new
that part
one.
one?
You know
Okay.
what? Don't worry. I did not really care for it. I graciously gave it a 6 because it was like, yeah, cool shots and cinematography. The introduction of the story is fine. Everything was just fine though. And I felt like this is strictly a part 1 for the sake of making a trilogy out of it. It felt like a really padded part 1 though.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I figured it would end at the halfway point in the story. I don't know if you've ever seen the older Dune film, the
No.
David Lynch one from 1984. They actually play the entire story. They changed the ending. So part two of Dune is the end of the first book, and then they're making
Mm-hmm.
a third movie, which is basically the second book, Dune
Mm-hmm.
Messiah. I've not read Dune Messiah. I still have not read. I've still have not finished the first Dune novel, but I kind of know the story because they
Mm-hmm.
made a mini series on Sci-Fi back in like, holy crap! I think it was 2000. They made that, and they made Children of Dune, which is the third book. So they
Mm-hmm.
adapted those. Um, but they changed the story. They changed like how the main villain gets killed, or the Baron. They still have the fight. The Paul still has the fight with the nephew of the Baron.
Yeah.
And they don't we don't in the first movie you don't even see him. In the original movie he was Sting, and Sting was in like a speedo like the whole movie. I'm just like, this is extremely, like, they made the bad guys like extremely homoerotic. Like, it was just like, you're like, I mean, I guess it was meant to be gross, but man, it was like, I don't know what David Lynch was thinking with that. So but yeah, that movie, that original 80s movie lost so much money that they
Oh yeah.
never made a sequel. They never made a follow-up, even though the movie felt like it ended like there needed to be a follow-up to it. So,
Mm-hmm.
but hey, the one thing that I remember the most from that movie is the Toto soundtrack. I don't know if you ever listened to Toto.
I
um
mean, you say Toda and I think of Africa, but I doubt that's used in a Dune movie.
Yeah, that same group, yeah, it's the same group, Africa, Africa, hold the line, da 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 da. Love isn't always on, that, and
Okay.
but yeah, they actually did a really good rockin' soundtrack. I mean, 80s. I mean, you gotta think about it. Sci-fi in the 80s. If it wasn't Star Wars or Star Trek, you're likely going to hear like a band, like a soundtrack from a band, like the Flash Gordon movie. I don't know if you ever
Mm-hmm.
seen the original Flash Gordon movie from like 1980. That was my introduction to Queen. So they play the Flash, you know.
Yeah, yeah. Did you
um,
watch the original Tron, or I'm sure you watched the original of? Okay, it'll
I
come
got
to
it
me in a
right
moment.
there.
Yeah,
I bought the steel book. I bought the
yeah.
steel book of the original Tron.
Do you
Um,
appreciate how the older movies and even
yes.
the older TV series did sci-fi better?
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. What TV series?
Uh,
Like
well,
like like original Star Trek or something.
Well, you were watching Star Trek, yeah.
Yeah.
And I've
Yeah.
never actually watched a full series of Star Trek, but I've watched a few episodes and like bits and pieces here and there, and just everything like not overdoing it in any parts. The uniforms are not overdone, but they like convey the right message, and it matches also like the feeling of the ship that they're on, stuff like that. It's just, it's more cohesively put together.
Yeah.
There's a little bit more of your imagination or like a reliance on like stronger writing for plots and stuff.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I mean, like, yeah, like there were episodes where there was no action and it was all like, character driven. Usually there would be something going on board the ship only.
Mm-hmm.
Like this, so they didn't have the budget to like go to a planet or do anything like, crazy. It was the same for like the Next Generation too, but the original show, like when I was a kid, I was now I didn't really care for live action. I grew up on like, animated stuff. I grew up on like Looney Tunes, Disney, like the old stuff, like this is like 1930s, 1940s, 1950s. So all the cartoons that my parents grew up on, I watched it too because it was on TV all the time. You're
like
Rocky
black and white
Bullwinkle.
Betty Boop, or older than Betty Boop?
Well, I don't think I ever saw Betty Boop, but I saw like, I saw like I watched, there were Looney Tunes cartoons that I seen that dated all the way back to the 30s. You know how that what's that one game? What's that one game that's based off of 30s animation? That's really hard. Cuphead. Yeah, like I remember there was a Porky Pig cartoon on my Porky Pig VHS that I had as a little kid. The first cartoon was dated from 1936. It features, I mean, Porky Pig wasn't the main character; he was a player, but the main character was a young owl boy who wanted to sing jazz, and his family, the rest of his family, all preferred opera, and his family was just like they kicked him out of the house because he didn't want to, conform and all that.
Mm-hmm.
So, but then he gets really famous, and then the family warms up to him after the fact. So,
yeah.
But yeah, I grew up on that. Woody Woodpecker was another one, and Chilly Willy. Those used to be on all the time. Underdog was another one. So like I grew up on animated stuff. So I liked that color. I liked the look of animation.
Mm-hmm.
And I used to rent Charlie Brown stuff all the time. I used to rent, before I knew what anime was, there was anime movies at my video store that I used to rent as well. So anything that was animated, I watched it in one form or another. And then that kind of built into me playing video games, no Nintendo. And then live action was something that I thought was boring. I thought it was boring initially. And what kind of got me interested in live action when I was an adolescent was the original Star Trek, because the original Star Trek, even though it was live action, it was colorful. And my fandom of Nintendo and my fandom of animation and just the type, and I already was watching Power Rangers at that point. So that was, I was into like episodic stuff at that point. And because of that, I was able to warm into the series. And then I liked the characters. I liked Mr. Spock. Mr. Spock was like you could never like, get him to react emotionally. And then he'd always have getting these funny arguments with, McCoy, Dr. McCoy, Bones. Bones would always, try to get under his skin, and it would never work. And they'd always argue about whether something was emotional, whether something was warranted or not. Whether the emotional, what's the emotional implication of this action and all that. And Captain Kirk, William Shatner, the captain had to kind of balance those two, those two angels on his shoulders. Basically, he had to weigh in on the course of action he had to take, and that's kind of why I got into Star Trek. And plus, it was colorful and it was cheesy as hell. Like the cheese was present in the old '60s show.
Did you share that with any of your parents, or was it just a solo experience watching those shows?
My dad watched it growing up, and he kind of got me into it, but he wasn't the Trekkie that I turned out to be. remember my mother was I remember my mother was like, I can't believe I raised a Trekkie. I'm like,
That's funny.
that yeah. So but I liked those characters. I liked the arcs that the arcs they were on. um I liked all the guest characters, and then the movies. If you've seen the old movies from the 80s that bring back the original cast, I mean, my favorite movie of all time is The Wrath of Khan, Star Trek 2.
Okay.
And that one wastes no time whatsoever. um a villain from the original series comes back for revenge. So
Mm-hmm.
he is basically paralleled after Captain Ahab. So he's quoting Moby Dick. You know, he steals his own ship, and he wants to, kill Kirk, you know, and everyone that's in his way. And a beloved character sacrifices himself in the end to get the ship away from a potential from being destroyed, basically.
Mm-hmm.
And it was a beautifully done movie. And no matter how many times I like, as a kid, I watched it, I'm like, oh, okay, this is sad, but the 11-year-old
Yeah.
me didn't have the life experience that I have now. Every time I watch it now, I shed tears, no matter
You're
how
bawling?
many times I've seen it. Yeah, bawling. So
Yeah.
and I understand that the main point of that story, I mean, it was a revenge story, but it was also a story about how a beloved character is getting older, is dealing with the fact that he's getting older, and
Mm.
he's not married, he's single. I mean, he's been married to his career, and he is kind of, he's struggling throughout the movie, he's struggling to deal with that.
Wow. Sounds like me.
And yeah, he's struggling to deal with that. And by the end of it, the last thing that he says is, throughout all that stuff that goes on, all the tragedy, all the people that died, the action, the crazy stuff that happened, he says at the end, I feel young.
Hmm.
And it's a beautiful movie. So it's my number one movie of all time. So
Very nice. All right.
and if you ever want to get into the Star Trek movies, even though that's Star Trek 2,
Could I just do movie 1, movie 2, or bit of a series, movie 2?
You could watch the movies. Like, that's how I started, was watching the movies before I watched the old show. You don't have to really watch the old show to understand what's going on. So there was a bit of a plot there was a bit of a plot inconsistency in The Wrath of Khan that we all forgive. A certain character gets recognized by another character even though they've never met in the original series. So yeah, it's one of those things. But hey, what
little Easter egg for nerds.
Yeah, the first Star Trek movie though is have you seen the movie 2001: A Space Odyssey? Stanley Kubrick.
No, want to read it, want to watch it.
Very two different. I've done that too. I've read the book and I've watched the movie. Two totally different things. He had, like, Kubrick would not let him. Kubrick kept certain parts of the plots from the film secret, and so Clarke, who wrote the book, Arthur C. Clarke, had to kind of write his own thing.
Oh wow!
Yeah. So, heck, they don't even go to the same planet in the movie. In the book, in the movie, they go to Jupiter. In the book, they go to Saturn.
Mm-hmm.
So,
thinking of sci-fi that maybe we overlapped, and the only one I can think of right now, like future sci-fi, is Blade Runner.
Blade Runner is a good one. But before we go talk about that, back to motion picture. The reason why I brought up 2001 is because motion picture is a lot like 2001. It's extremely slow with minimal dialogue. It's a good movie though.
Mm-hmm.
It's a good. I like that. I like those type of movies, but not everybody does. And I don't want to scare people off and say, "Hey, watch the motion picture. You're gonna love it." Not everyone's gonna like it. I mean,
no, that's okay. Well, I mean, the worst movie I've ever watched that's rated very highly is Citizen Kane. And I don't know.
You didn't like Citizen Kane?
No, I thought it was awful. and I had to watch it in parts because it was too long for one sitting.
You thought it was? I didn't think it was. I didn't think it was awful.
Okay.
I mean, I thought the character, became awful, and I think that,
Unlikable. Don't like bad characters.
yeah. I mean, but you kind of, but I kind of understand kind of like what the point was. I mean, he's based off of Charles Foster Kane, the character, played by Orson Welles, is based off of William Randolph Hearst. Everybody knows who William Randolph Hearst is, and the whole point of Rosebud was, in the beginning, was that he was innocent. He had a different view of life, and then when he got into to the business, he just
developed his thorns,
and he's just developed his thorns. He just he nobody could tell him to say no to him, no matter what he did. And even though he was rich, even though he was the richest person in the world, well, he couldn't win the election, and he got caught up in scandal. And he ended up, he just ended up dying alone, and nobody. The whole movie was a journalist trying to find out what Rosebud meant, because he dies. The last thing he says is Rosebud, and we find out Rosebud was the sled that he had when he was a kid. And I was like,
I feel like there are some movies that take elements of that, and like they show the character what could have been, what does happen, in a better way. And the one that comes to mind is A Christmas Carol. And take your pick of which one. You can even watch Scrooge with Bill Murray for a similar version. Like, first of all, a lot of this is subjective, and I'm biased against certain.
We lost you. We lost him.
Hello, Brian.
Yeah.
I don't know why it's saying a lost connection on my camera. My camera's still on here.
Yeah, you're. All I see is I see your avatar. I see Leo with the kokery sword in his mouth and the green hood. I gotta say that's a pretty base. I like that. Okay, now you're back. There you go. You're back now.
Well, you got to see it, so that was okay. I don't even know why it's displaying the OBS logo right there. I just clicked my camera back on. Should I go for a reset here, or do I just keep talking? I don't want to interrupt anything too much.
No, you could if you want, you can keep talking if you want.
All right, so
now you can rub your nose and you can do all the things that you can't do on camera.
The thing, so like I was just saying, my biases against something like Citizen Kane. I am kind of sensitive to any sort of glorification of bad people.
I don't think the movie was glorifying him, though. I think
it was more. It was more.
I felt it was framed as a tragedy in a way.
But again, it's also like just choosing him as the subject of the movie, in my opinion, is like a glorification. If you watch a Jeffrey Dahmer documentary, it's not glorifying Jeffrey Dahmer, but why are we watching something about Jeffrey Dahmer? That's the kind of thing that just rubs me the wrong way.
The way I see it is those type of people exist, whether you like it or not. And
yes,
you don't know what those people are. I mean, they could be the rotten people on the outside, but you don't know what's going on the inside. And I find that kind of fascinating when it comes to those type of characters. I mean, it depends on I don't know. It like there are unlikable characters. I get where you're going at. What you're getting at with certain things. I don't like it when characters are nasty, but they're still framed as the good guy. Whereas this Kane character, he was the subject of the movie, but I mean he's just another human as far as I'm concerned. He wasn't. I don't think he was. I mean, I don't know.
No, it's all good.
But I find people like that fascinating. So I'm weird like that, I guess.
Like I said, it's something I've grown more sensitive to as I got older. I don't know if you ever watched a movie about former criminal Charles Bronson, and the movie is titled Bronson. It's this.
Okay, so when you said Charles, I think I've seen the movie. I was like, Charles Bronson. You mean the actor? Death Wish actor?
So it's a name that's been used a couple times. Man, if I'm getting the first name wrong, well, someone can correct me.
No. I think you're correct. I've heard of them. I haven't watched it yet, though.
Yeah, I'm not going to give it anything away, but it shows his underground crime life. Then he goes to prison, and in prison, you're watching him do some pretty incredible things, objectively speaking, the way he could take out a whole bunch of armed guards, for example. And I'm just like, all right, this is really cool. But at the end of the day, this is a scumbag. What am I supposed to come away from with after I finish watching this movie? And I was like a late teen or early 20s, and I'm thinking that as I'm watching this. It gave me a little bit of pause. And since then, yeah, I've only kind of doubled down on those sort of thoughts. And you know what? Maybe at the risk of sounding lame, my favorite archetype for a story is the hero story.
Oh, absolutely. Totally agree. Yeah, I mean, the hero's journey. Yeah, the hero archetype. I mean, I consider all three of the main characters in Star Trek, Spock, McCoy, and Kirk, I consider them heroes to almost to an equal degree, but I mean, I've said this before, like stuff like Lord of the Rings, which is pure hero's journey and all that.
Yep.
That stemmed from Zelda playing as Link, playing Ocarina of Time, where kind of like, and same with Star Wars. Ocarina of Time, you lose the tree was basically, the Deku tree was Obi-Wan Kenobi, basically. Lose him right away in the beginning of the movie, to the bad guy, or to an agent of the bad guy, the Queen Goma, and then Link has to leave. Tatooine, or in this case, Kokiri Forest, and then he goes off into space, or Hyrule Field, and he goes to meet the princess. And then his journey truly begins.
And he meets Epona, who's basically his Millennium Falcon, I guess.
Yep, that's correct. That's true. That's true.
I don't think we're gonna get stuck if we keep on trying to draw parallels, but yeah, that's interesting.
People say, I don't know if you've, I'm sure you've heard of Roger Ebert, the critic. He has said that video games are not art before he passed away. And I think that's not true at all.
Well, what year was that? Because up until a certain year, I would agree with him.
This was 2000, and I think this was 2006, 2007, or maybe even later, maybe 2010. I mean, who else agrees with him? Believe it or not. By the way, Salty, cheers! Thank you for the 99-cent super sticker.
Thank you very much.
You know who else agrees with him recently? Miyamoto. Miyamoto came out and said that he doesn't think his works for Nintendo, his Mario stuff, is considered art because of the fact that they made it to profit. They made it for money, for financial gain, basically. Even Donkey Kong
trying to be a little relevant in his twilight years, or is he trying to just display, hey, look, I've got that stereotypical Japanese humility? Although if you're saying you're doing it for profit, I guess it's not humility.
Yeah, I don't like. I'm sure a video game journalist was probably asking him a bunch of dumb questions or something like that, and then they kind of, he said something like that, and
maybe a mistranslation,
probably. And so, but yeah, I mean, like Miyamoto was tasked. I talked about this on another stream because we were talking about like the history of Donkey Kong. So the reason why Donkey Kong was made was because Nintendo of America was recently established, and they attempted to release a game called Radar Scope to kind of capitalize off of the success of Space Invaders. Well, Radar Scope, or no, it wasn't called Radar. No, Radar Scope's different.
It works in the story though, Brian. It works in the story.
All right, but they made a Space Invaders type game, and it failed miserably to the point where Nintendo of America was in danger of being shut down, going into bankruptcy, and the president of Nintendo at the time, Hiroshi Yamauchi's, had his son-in-law. He installed his son-in-law, so it's a good thing to be related to people. So got some juicy nepotism here. So his son-in-law, Minoru Arakawa, and he's featured in I don't know if you've seen the Tetris movie yet. I still haven't finished it, but him and Howard Lincoln are both featured in the Tetris movie on Apple TV.
I had
But
no clue there was a Tetris movie.
yeah, there is a Tetris movie about the history of Tetris and
I
how
have watched.
Nintendo came to get the rights to have it on the Game Boy and on the the NES.
There's a very good movie length. Actually, no, sorry, it's 45 minutes. But there's a good 45-minute documentary online by a video game historian, and that gets into the Tetris and the background of it, the Russian side, the Japanese side. It's good. That's kind of where I got my fill of that story.
Yeah, I have to finish. I have to finish that. I've only played that version. I've only played that Tetris. I've never played like any of the later installments. Like I know there was one called Tetris Sphere. I don't know if Super Nintendo had a Tetris game. I know, but
they had Tetris Attack, so that was a way of like branching out in a different puzzle style entirely.
Yeah, true. I haven't played. I know Super Nintendo's been completely. That's the one generation I know you skipped.
Kind of,
because you didn't have Super. You didn't have
exactly.
You didn't have that. So, do they still make Tetris games? Do you know?
Oh yeah. I don't know what the latest full version was, but Nintendo was playing around Tetris 99. No, it's debatable. Is that really like making one?
That's
different
right.
version?
Yeah.
You play Tetris.
And I know you're not as big of a Tetris guy as more of like, what was that Pokemon Puzzle League? You're more into
so basically Tetris Attack. Yeah.
Is that what Tetris Attack is?
Yeah.
Man, how many games have they used that same that just like you have to match up like different colored blocks, and then whatever combinations it gets carried over to the opposing player, and the opposing player gets screwed.
So many. It's such a good format because head to head or individual, the game's fun just the same.
Have you played have you ever played Sonic Mania?
No.
So Sonic Mania was they made Dr. Robotnik's Mean Bean Machine, which is basically
the
Sonic
game.
version of of
Puzzle League. Dr. Mario.
Dr. Mario, that same type of thing. In the Sonic Mania, you I forget if you play against Metal Sonic, but the main boss in one of the zones, you basically take him on, and that was the boss fight. And I was like, oh my, I'm like, is this a boss? Like I thought it was part of the level. I didn't realize it was a boss fight, because when you win, you get the little, the typical little explosion, and the Metal Sonic runs away or something like that, or maybe he gets destroyed. I don't remember, but it was that. I thought that I thought that was really cool. And I mean, I was watching in one of your videos, and you were talking about like you loved that type of games. So I figured I'd bring that up. So
yeah, 5 puzzle games for beginners probably.
So, but yeah, I played a little bit of I played a little bit of those type of games. I haven't played a whole lot. I played Dr. Mario a bit. Yeah, I played that, but I don't know if I played any other type of puzzle games like that. So,
did you ever see one in the arcade? It was called was it called Bubble Pop? The arcade release. You have these 2 little dinosaurs controlling these arrows and these launchers, and you launch what could be a ricocheting ball, and above you kind of looks like all these multicolored balls in some formation. So you got to try to like get your green to bounce and stick to a green cluster. It pops it.
Bubble Bobble, right?
Yeah, there you go.
Yes. My buddy, my friend whose name is also Brian, loves that game. So whenever I've had him on for chillporeal, if I need a because he doesn't have a channel or anything like that. If I need a mascot, I use the Bubble green dinosaur dude for him. So that's how he met his wife. Believe it or not. They were both playing that. Well, for ex-wife. So unfortunately,
maybe should have been playing pinball or something.
maybe. So, but yeah, like the thing that I like about gaming the most, like, I mean, I guess it depends on the genre. I I don't know how I forget. Have you ever played or do you like Resident Evil at all? I know they just
Yeah.
came out with Requiem. So when I was growing up, I thought Resident Evil was basically uh, um, what's the word? It was extremely. Um, I thought it was gratuitous. I thought Resident
Mm.
Evil was just gratuitous violence and just blood, splatter and all that.
Mm-hmm.
I thought it was just that type of thing, basically shoot 'em up, trying to be edgy and all that stuff. And even as a kid in the 90s, I was just like, I was over all that. I was like, I don't give a crap about this. But then years later, I'm in college and I have a friend. His name's Marty. Both I connected with him because he was one of the first friends I had that actually liked Zelda. So
Nice.
me and him bonded over Zelda, and he owned Nintendo. He owned a Super Nintendo. He owned a Wii at the time, and so we were playing the same games. So that's how we connected. And one day I watched him play this game called Resident Evil 4. He had it for the Wii. I was watching it. I was like, "What game is this? This game looks pretty cool." He's like, "This is
Yeah.
Resident Evil." I'm like, "Resident Evil games are like this?" He's like, "Well, this game is like this, but the earlier games are different." And I was like, "Oh, okay." And then I saw him play Resident Evil 5. Resident Evil 5 just came out right shortly after that. So I was like, you know what? Maybe I'll get into Resident Evil. So I played. Another friend of mine had the first game on the GameCube. So I didn't. I still haven't played the very first game on the PlayStation,
Mm-hmm.
but I did play the first game on the GameCube. I played Zero actually. I played Zero first, then I played the first game. But
I played a bit of Zero too. Yeah.
I have not replayed Zero since, but I've replayed the first Resident Evil on the GameCube like a billion times. Um, I played it. I'm like, holy crap! I like this game.
Yeah.
Because I mean I liked horror, but I didn't think this game was going to be anything like. Believe it or not, I compare Resident Evil to Zelda, and because
Hmm.
it's like you're in a single dungeon basically. You're trying to figure out how to get into these rooms. So
Yeah.
you have to look for keys, you have to look for items in order to progress. And that's what I like in games. We've talked about Breath of the Wild and why I didn't like Breath of the Wild the
Yeah.
same as I liked, what I call the core, Zelda, um, you know, format basically. I like that feeling of progression and being rewarded when
Yes.
you explore and look for things in places that you wouldn't expect to look and all that. I like that. And I liked finding keys and then having to figure out which the game actually makes you look at the key. Like it doesn't tell you what the key is. You pick up a key, it just says key. you
Inspect
actually
it or
ha-
try it on
you
the
actually
doors.
have to yeah you actually have to inspect it in
Right.
order to identify it. And then when you identify it, then you can find then you have to find which door will open to that key. It's like, oh, this key, this this keyhole is shaped like a sword, or this keyhole
Yeah.
is shaped
Yeah.
like an
Yeah.
armor, or or like a shield or something like that. So uh yeah, you had that. You had to figure all that out, and that I just that hooked me. And then
So
you
funny
had
you're talking about that aspect specifically because now, I mean, I'm only taking a cursory look at some of the reception to Resident Evil Requiem. I watched a review, I listened to the review. I didn't even watch it. Wasn't interested in seeing any footage of it. Sounded amazing. I'm like, yes, I'm going to get to this game at some point. And out of curiosity, I took a look at some of the discourse about it, and there are more than enough people who complain about the systems of find your key to unlock the door. Oh, you actually got the key for door B, so you still have to do a different puzzle to get the key for door A. And there's people complaining about that because they view it as puzzle solving. And there's even some people who won't even touch a Resident Evil because, well, it has this puzzle solving element of exploration. It's like, okay, so let's think of the alternative. Do you want to just play like a bit of an aimless arcade shooter? Like, what does the game become if you get rid of those elements then? There's no tension for sure.
Yeah. I mean, there could still be tension, but I mean, like you have to really look in order to find like ammunition, because
Okay,
I
ammo,
mean,
sure.
like especially the earlier games, it's survival horror. So survival horror, you have to be really, I
Use
mean,
your wits for
you have to use
survival.
your wits, and you have to, you have a choice to make. You could either, fight or fly, fi- fi-
Yeah.
either fight or flight. Sorry, too much
Eh,
drink.
all good. And think about though, because I mentioned the tension with this in mind specifically. When you have to backtrack to an area, you don't know if Resident Evil is going to reset the enemies, leave the enemies dead, or add new ones.
Yeah, I mean, the original game I don't think does it, but the first game, but the GameCube one, when you take down zombies or something,
Yeah.
when you come back to an area, they become crimson heads, and then they run after you, and then they just got really quick, and they start going after you, like, oh shit, I gotta get out of here, I gotta get out of here, because I don't
Yeah.
even have time to aim and shoot because of the way the control is. I mean, you're basically controlling the character from a single angle. Like, the
Yes.
camera is stationary at a particular angle, no matter where you go. You know, it always feels like, when you're walking on a corner, you to another view of another part of the room, or part. It's just like you don't know what's waiting. And I
Yeah.
remember that was very effective as part of the horror element, especially in those early games. Now, I don't think that they'll never do that. They'll never do that again. That's considered outdated, unfortunately. But now it's either that was replaced with, the first person mode, which
Hmm.
has kind of become the standard. Which is funny
Okay, I
because
wasn't aware of that actually.
yeah. So starting with Resident Evil 7, so 4 started the whole over the shoulder view. So
Yep.
it became more of an action game. You play as Leon.
Instead of the more bird's eye view. Yep.
Yeah. So you have that in 4, 5, and 6. 6 ends up becoming this wacky, crazy, over the top action game. Even though I think Leon always was the best. Leon always had the best writing. He always had
Yeah.
the best stories. Even
Yeah.
in even Resident Evil 6, which I think is Resident Evil 6 removed a lot of the puzzle element. And another thing I really liked about Resident Evil, there's a lot of lore that was
Hmm.
entrenched in the game, especially the first game. There are journal entries everywhere. You read about people that end up becoming victims. The GameCube version had this family being, taken prisoner by Umbrella, and the girl was the daughter was experimented on, and
Hmm.
she became this unstoppable creature that is just lurking the mansion. And when you encounter her the first time, she is terrifying. Like, you have to run away from her because
Yeah.
she's like unkillable. So, um, and then when you engage her, when you take care of her, it's still freaking scary because I'm
When you're
like,
mentioning
is she
the
dead?
lore, I'm thinking, man, what a shame that the movies were ever made, because all they did were serve like a disservice to the series and probably deter people from playing the games.
Yeah, I saw only so they made like I think they made like 6 or 7 or 8 of them.
Oh wow, I thought it was like four of them. Jeez.
Yes, yeah, all with Mila Jovovich, and her
Yeah.
husband was the director. I only saw the first two. So the first one was very much like your typical, early 2000s, horror
Is that
movie.
when they tried to kind of emulate the dogs? She like kicks the dogs in midair or something?
I think so. I don't
And it was
remember.
like, oh, the dogs are in the video game. It's like, okay, that doesn't really do
Yeah,
it.
and like,
She's
yeah,
dressed more like Tomb Raider than a raccoon police
yeah, and there
department
was
lady.
yeah, and there was this evil computer, and I bet they did the same thing where one of the agents, one of the policemen, was the bad guy, kind of like Wesker was in the first
Yeah.
game. Um, and then he had this evil computer system that was just killing people left and right in that movie. I'm like, I saw the movie before I ever played the game. So my friend in high school made me go and see the movie, the Resident Evil movie. I had no idea what I was watching because I haven't
Hmm.
played the games This was years before I even attempted to play any of the games. So I had no idea what was going on. And then with another group of friends a few years later, we saw the second Resident Evil movie where she fights like Nemesis or something like that. And so it was basically Resident Evil 3 in a way. And I think I like that one a little bit more than the first one. The first one
Well,
was
it's
like a
like
straight up horror. The second one was more of a comedy.
eh,
Action. It was more of an action comedy. I think
they
even
found their footing. They figured out what worked better for a movie, and they just went for it.
heck, I think Chris Epps from frickin' Friday, from the Friday sequels. If you ever, Friday with Ice Cube and all that, he was in the sequels, the Friday sequels. He was like the comic relief in them. I'm like, holy crap. So, by the way, we have a certain, we have to say hello to the person that connected us in the first place.
Howdy.
So he was playing Dinotopia. He was playing the PS2 Dinotopia game. Are you familiar with Dinotopia at all?
No, and I thought you were going to say he was playing Requiem, but sure, Dinotopia.
He was no he. The thing is, he hasn't. He only played the first Resident.
He beat Requiem.
He played Requiem, and he didn't play anything else other than like the first. He played the first Resident Evil on PlayStation. I think he played the remake, the GameCube one. So. Yeah. He thinks RE1 is not scary. I'm like, dude, it is scary. Like you hear your footsteps. It's silent. There's tension in the mansion.
Renting those games as a kid is why I did not play Resident Evil again until 4 came out on GameCube, and I was a teenager.
Mm-hmm.
I could not get back into horror games after a little bit of Resident Evil, and even I don't know, maybe I was 8 years old, maybe 9 years old. And my aunt got us Doom 64. And who cares about how Doom 64 compares to like proper Doom on PC? Doom 64 was terrifying. I probably played it for 5 minutes. Couldn't really do it on my own. Tried following a strategy guide because maybe that would make it less scary if I was more sure. And I just never played it again. I was like, I'm not ready for demons. I'm too young for this.
I never played Doom 64. Isn't it like a shooter?
Yeah, it's Doom just with a worse controller.
Oh,
Actually, Doom 64 now has a PC port because, you wouldn't want to miss out on any of the Doom titles.
I wonder if it's on GOG.
Yeah, maybe.
I don't know. Like, I can play. So they released the first. I need to play the first Resident Evil and it's on GOG. I have GOG. I have a GOG account. Maybe I'll play it there, but I still have to beat another game that I started playing on GOG that I still haven't finished yet, which is basically Resident Evil but with dinosaurs. It's called Dino Crisis. You ever hear of Dino Crisis?
Yes. Arcade classic, if I'm not mistaken.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, reason why I even know about Dino Crisis because of this gentleman in the chat right now. So yeah. Already one from GOG. Yeah, okay, there you go. So I still have not played that one. I'm curious how different it is. I know like the lighting is very different, but then again, the lighting, it's interesting. Have you played the like Resident Evil 2 remake at all?
No, but I do own it, and that's going to be the version I play.
Okay, so Resident Evil 2 takes place in the Raccoon City police department. And the police department in the original game is extremely well lit. Unlike the remake. The remake, it's like the foyer is dim, and then like the wings of the station are almost pitch black. Like you need to have like a flashlight. And then it's just like the fact that they made it dark made it creepier in my opinion, because there's like there's enemies like lurking on the ceilings that will not activate right away, but then as you further you get further, you start getting more keys and accessing more of the station, and then when you try to go back to those rooms or those hallways, those corridors, then they wake up and then they start attacking you and all that. It gets scary. And then there's an unkillable person that's trying to kill you.
Yep.
And he's stalking you. You have to evade him while playing the game and all that. And that's what made me love the remake of Resident Evil 2. 3 with Nemesis, I was expecting I was expecting Resident Evil 3 with Nemesis to be even better like
Mm-hmm.
that, but all the stuff with Nemesis. So in the original game, Nemesis is basically stalking you.
Mm-hmm.
You never know when he'll turn up. I was expecting the same thing to be in this third game, like he'll randomly show up and start stalking you and start going after you. Unfortunately, in the remake of 3, it was all scripted. So
Okay.
he shows up at only at certain points of the game. I mean, he still chases you.
Yeah.
It's still good. He still chases you, but I was disappointed in that. So
Mm-hmm.
I haven't played the remake of 3 since. My
Oh, you
friend
dropped it.
Marty, yeah, I beat it, and I gave it. I let my friend Marty borrow it. He's the one that got me into Resident Evil in the first place, and he finally, after like 8 years, he finally played it. He's
Nice.
had the game. He's had the game this whole time, and he finally played it. He texts me. He's like, "Hey, I beat this." I'm like, "Is that my game?" He's like, "Oh
Yeah.
yeah, that is your game." Like, yeah. I'm like, "Yeah, lol. Yeah, finally." So, but yeah. By the way, my buddy who made the thumbnail is here. So,
Awesome.
but yeah, what do you think? Do you like the thumbnail? So he's here.
Yeah,
He's here.
it
He's listening. So
worked
you
out
got to
pretty
say
good.
it.
It was teenage Leo.
Yeah, so originally he just had Link in the chair watching the movie. I was like,
Yeah.
so usually I will have an idea and I will send it to him, and he'll use his program to make something. And so that's why I was like bugging. I was like, I took a snippet of your dog, like your first video. I took a
Yeah.
snippet of you holding your dog. So I sent him the dog picture, and then I was asking you like what kind of dog it was, and then he was able to recreate, because I wanted Leo to be sitting
With
right
Link.
next to, yeah.
Yeah, I liked it. That was a good one.
So
That was not AI slop. All right, that was AI art.
art, there you go. So
Yeah.
um but yeah, like I mean like a true like if you're gonna make like, I know you don't care about like, I know you said this before, that you don't really care about like video game adaptations, movie adaptations, all that. I remember, I think
Yeah, not my
last
first
time I asked
choice,
you if
but
you
I might check some out.
now, I know you said you last year that you weren't interested in the Zelda live action film. Is that still the case?
Um, okay. I'm not really interested, but I know in some way, shape, or form, I'm gonna be dragged into watching it. Like that's gonna happen.
Okay. I mean, I have to. I mean, like I said last time, I'm probably going to see it because I just need to see this for myself.
Yeah.
Like, I don't want
Man,
to.
are they gonna keep Link silent? I hope they do, but they probably can't for an effective movie. It's gonna be so weird with Link having a voice and proper dialogue.
if you had your way, would you? So you would have Link be silent
Yeah.
to be consistent with the games. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Don't
Like.
assign a voice to him that I don't want used for him.
Mm-hmm.
Because next time I play Zelda, I'm gonna headcanon it out of there. All I know from Link is how he sounds when he's like falling 100 floors and landing and hurting himself.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, so like my first, I think I told you, my first exposure to Zelda, believe it or not, was the cartoon.
Yep.
So my first
So you're
exposure
used
to
to it.
Link
Okay.
was being, hey Zelda, give me a kiss. No, no, Link. Well, excuse me, princess.
Yeah.
So that was my introduction to Link, as this snarky teenage dude that just wants to be appreciated by the princess and all that. So um and then I played the games, and um I I know you I know you like the Breath of the Wild. And did you said you like Tears of the Kingdom, right, as well?
Yeah, it's probably my favorite game of all time,
Your favorite game
honestly.
of all time? Okay.
Oh yeah.
What did you I don't know how I'm not I don't know, like maybe it's old school me. I mean, they still have the text boxes during the
Yes.
game,
Yeah.
but what do you like, the voice acting during cutscenes? I don't know.
Oh,
Like,
had to switch it to Japanese. I learned that from Breath of the Wild. We cannot be hiring these American actors, I'm assuming, to be putting on these fake British accents anymore. Like Zelda and Breath of the Wild.
yeah.
Link, please, you must rescue me. It's like, Ooh, we're
Yeah,
out of here.
I couldn't stand it. I couldn't stand it either. So
No.
yeah,
But
I think Zelda crying in that one particular cutscene in Japanese was more effective than the
probably, yeah.
so um
Actually, speaking of Link and voice acting, or Link and just talking in general, I believe something I learned probably from one of those Did You Know gaming videos. Link was not given any lines in the early games, the 3D games, because it was helping to make him more immersive. They wanted you to believe that you were Link when you played the game.
yeah, your Link was your link to the game.
Yes. Oh, there
Basically
you
that
go. Yeah.
at least that's what I learned when I did my I think I did my first Zelda video.
Retrospective. Yeah.
Yeah, was learning that. So um but the other thing that I think I said this before, but the game took a lot of inspiration from Raiders of the Lost Ark, the first Indiana Jones film. And I think if they're gonna do Legend of Zelda live action, they have to be in at least one or two dungeons.
Oh yeah, for
Like,
sure.
because I don't know if you've ever, I don't know if you've ever read. I don't think you've never read like any of the manga, any of the Zelda manga at all.
Not for Zelda, no.
They don't like when they go into the dungeon in the manga. It's just they go walk in and they fight the boss and then they leave basically. So there's no like exploration or anything like that, be for the sake of the the narrative. Um, but like but if you're gonna be in a true Zelda film, in my opinion, would be something like Raiders of the Lost Ark, action,
Yep.
Characters have their arcs and all that. um I think Zelda, even though it's highly unpopular thing to do nowadays, Zelda I think should be a damsel in distress,
Mm-hmm.
to the point where like she's like you like I want Link to race to get to her before it's too late, like that
Yeah.
type of deal, kind of like the way I felt when I don't know if you play, I know you said I don't know if you ever played A Link to the Past, but there's a point in Link to
Yep.
the Past where so you rescue Zelda in the very beginning of the game and you take her to the sanctuary and
Yep.
she stays there during your entire light world quests. So you go through the first three dungeons of the game, and when you beat the third dungeon, get the final pendant of wisdom, then you go to the Lost Woods and get the Master Sword. The moment you leave the Master Sword meadow, you hear her in telepathy, because in that game she can call you in telepathy. You can hear her.
That's how she started the game, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, maybe it's those pointed Hylian ears or something.
Yeah,
that makes them kind of like Vulcans in a way. They're telepathic in a way. But she basically calls him and says, "The soldiers are coming to the sanctuary," and then I'm like, "Oh crap!" I mean, 8-year-old me is like, I'm using the Pegasus boots, which cause you to dash, dash in a single direction. I was dashing all over the place trying to get to because the game convinced me that if I get to her, if I get to the sanctuary in time, I'll be able to save her. Unfortunately, that's not the case. You get there, and the sage, the one that was that was keeping her, the ones that was protecting her, he dies. Instead of like, they don't leave the body just vanishes and all that. Characters died in that game. In that 16-bit game, the uncle dies. Even though some people disagree with that, but no, the uncle dies.
That was a great start to the game. Like, that was one of the things that got me excited when I first started playing it. I was like, oh, this is different.
Yeah. So yeah, like that, from that moment, and and then you get to her, you get to the castle, you find out she was taking the castle. So you race into Hyrule Castle. Now that you have the Master Sword, you can access the tower, the central tower of the castle, because the castle was there's a barrier. There's like an electrical barrier. It's like if you try to hit it with your regular sword, you'll get zapped and all that. But with the Master Sword, you'll destroy the barrier. And you go in there and you're getting through all 7 floors, and then you get there and she is already, well, she's not already gone. The wizard waits for you so that he can make her vanish in front of you. Like that's just like, come on, that's like ultimate villain move right there. It's like, okay, well, you're no match for me, so I'm just gonna go in the other room. Don't think you're gonna follow me, and then you follow. He's like, oh, okay, well, I'm gonna kill you then, and then you beat him, and then he takes you to the dark world, and you start a whole new quest.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, I want something like that. Will they do it? I don't know. I don't think so.
Yeah, and you have to think about, the way they make these movies is they like to, leave a few treats in the movies for the older fans to pick up on. But then where are most people coming from right now? Breath of the Wild, Tears of the Kingdom, Zelda's technically she's even a bigger damsel in those games, I would say. I hated her treatment of those games, but they're going to have adventuring, exploring together. They could maybe capture her halfway through or something like that. After she's probably shown like how she's a different character than Link, not just like a female Hylian.
Yeah.
And they could definitely do dungeons and puzzles. You think about like a hook shot scene would be really cool as well. Indiana Jones style stuff there. Link, the way in some of the Ocarina puzzles, he's got to shoot through a lit torch to light something on another side of the room.
Yep.
And then all the iconic bosses, are they going to have Goma or King Dodongo or whatever, right? There's going to be at least one iconic boss in the movie. You just think about what they did with the Mario movie.
You know what they should do, and it would blow me away if they actually did do this. If you played the first Zelda, the very first level 1, the first dungeon, the dragon that shoots the three fireballs at you. That boss was never brought back in any of the other games.
Okay, so that is not the 3-headed dragon from
so
that's not a Gleeok. Okay.
Yeah, the Gleeok the Gleeok is in level the Gleeok is in level 4, and the Gleeok is in level 4 and level 7 and I think level 8. And there's 3 versions of the Gleeok. There's the 2-headed version and then the 3-headed version and then the 4-headed version. So the Gleeok is the final boss in 2 of the dungeons in the original game, and a mid boss in the, I think, the penultimate dungeon. So the Gleeok is just in the corner. He has his 3 heads, and each of his 3 heads shoots stuff at you. When you beat one of the heads turns into like this disembodied head going around the room in red, looking even more menacing, trying to kill you. And so you have to slay the other heads before the disembodied head kills you. So with the 4-headed one, you have 3 disembodied heads trying to go in all over the room, shooting stuff at you while you're trying to get that last head.
Imagine the insanity of that in 3D.
I am terrified to try that in 3D. I haven't beaten Tears of the Kingdom. I haven't gotten nearly that far to the point where you fight a Gleeok, and I'm curious how that's going to work. So
those are pretty cool fights. Those were one of my favorites from the game for sure. But
I only played one of the dungeons. I went up into the sky. I took I actually enjoyed that section. The problem I had was with Tears of the Kingdom was it felt more like Breath of the Wild 2.0. Even though like people say it's worse than Breath of the Wild, I'm like, no, it's better. Even I think it's better. Because they like, at least that sky dungeon that I played still felt like a dungeon.
And you can imagine there's 3 more of those at least.
Yes. Yeah.
It's all the getting to the dungeons, though. It's the in between where you're like, all right, well, I just want to go to a dungeon. Can I fast travel to it? And then let's say even if you could do that, you and people like you would have the issue of, I have no health, I have no stamina. This is miserable.
Yeah. So you have that. The other thing that it makes it superior to Breath of the Wild is the fact that Breath of the Wild, I mean, obviously it was the first game. They'd never done an open world Zelda before. So I had high expectations. Like I was expecting it to be open world, yet still have that same format. So you still had the dungeons, and then you had the shrines were just like the cherry on top.
Mini dungeons, yeah.
mini dungeons to a degree. What's funny was the shrines end up being like the main course instead, and then the
Yes.
main dungeons, the main quests, seem more like. I mean, they were designed okay. I mean, using like shifting the orientation, shifting the
Yep. Yep. Different parts of those
shift
structures.
shift yeah shift like with the elephant, with the elephants and its hind legs, you can access different parts of that. I thought that was good. I thought that was creative. um I don't think that should have been the entire. I don't think that should have been all the dungeons. I mean, you have this
Yeah.
massive world. You have this massive world, and I could see like these giant dungeons, like these giant, like either Wind Waker type dungeons or heck, Twilight Princess type dungeons, but
Hmm.
to even a bigger degree. That like super big with so much stuff to do, so much interconnectivity, between that, and maybe heck connected to another dungeon, kind of like
Hey, that's
do
cool.
like a do kind of like do like a Metroid or something to it.
It would take a little bit of adjustment, but actually, no, you'd be used to it from playing Link to the Past. I feel like Oracle of Ages has some really incredible dungeon designs. Now,
I only
I played all the 2D games in a very short time span, so I can't say like, oh, these particular aspects are Dungeon 1, Dungeon 5, those are the memorable ones, but the feeling that I came away with when I finished playing it was, wow, those were well designed. They have the sort of maze like attributes that you're kind of looking for. Even one of them actually to the point of like needing a guide, but yeah, pretty good. Oracle of Ages, but the overworld is I don't know, leaves something to be desired.
Yeah, I it's been a long time since I played those games. Like I
Mm-hmm.
haven't played Oracle. I haven't played Oracle of Ages or Oracle of Seasons since it came out
Yep.
On the Game Boy Color.
Yep.
And I was in high school. But I liked Ages. I played Ages first. Ages I liked a lot because of the time travel element.
Mm-hmm.
It brought me back to Ocarina of Time.
Mm-hmm.
Um
Yep.
and then I liked how present the villain was. In this case, it was the witch Veran, I believe. She was pretty present throughout the game. Like you fight her midway in the game, and then you fight her at the end. Unlike the season's boss, Onox, I think you only fight him at the end by confronting him. He's kind of like Dracula in the castle. You have to go all
Yeah.
the way to the
And
top of the castle in order to get to him, and there's no other
there's some
interaction
little
with him.
bonus at the final boss fight. If you played the other game and then you got to the second game's final boss, it's like, hey, here's an extra final boss sequence.
I still have not beaten Ganon
Well, look,
and
they
Oracle.
make Ganon almost impossible fights in a lot of those old games, honestly. And
Like
speaking of your favorite game with A Link to the Past, I couldn't beat him without light arrows.
oh
Oh wait,
no,
that's a sure thing though. You for sure can't beat him. That's not like a skill issue. I don't think you can actually damage him without light arrows.
no, the in the original Zelda, same with the original Zelda, you needed to find the silver arrows. So
Was
in the
finding
original
them in that game as much of a chore as it was in A Link to the Past?
Link to the Past, what's weird about Link to the Past was I found them by accident. So
Wow. Okay.
in the original game, the silver arrows. So I think in levels 8 and 9. So level 9 is Ganon's dungeon. There's two items of interest in levels 8 and 9. Level 9 had the red ring and the silver arrows. The red ring
Mhm.
was, you brought up. I was watching one of your videos what you liked about the little tidbits that you liked. I liked how you brought up in the original Zelda. You liked the upgrade of
The color changing.
the color change of the uniforms.
Yes.
And I always wonder why did I like I was a dumb kid, but I was like, why does my character why is my character all of a sudden wearing white? And
Yeah.
it took me like about a year to realize that when you buy the blue ring in the original Zelda,
Yeah.
you all of a sudden you have a white uniform. It never made sense to me. Well, I said, why buy a ring and then your outfit changes? Why
Yeah.
not
Yeah.
just show
Yeah.
the outfit? Oh well, and then the red ring. Well, at least the red ring actually matched with the outfit. You have a red outfit.
Mm-hmm.
So when you get to the final boss and you have the final upgrade, you're wearing red instead of white. Um, um, so I thought I figured since I was watching your video, I figured I brought that up, but I thought that was interesting. Like, and it halves your health, or
The damage,
it has the damage. Sorry, not
which
your health.
effectively doubles your health. Yeah.
It doubles your health. So, and they did something. Well, they didn't, not quite the same. Well, they did a similar upgrade in Ocarina at the very end. When
With the
you go
magic
into,
parts. Yep.
yeah, so you have to get in Ganon's tower, or Ganon's castle as the game calls it. Um, you have to get the golden gauntlets. So you get the silver gauntlets in the Spirit Temple in order to push the large block as adult
Yep.
Link, in order to get to access the adult section of the
temple.
Spirit
Yep.
Temple. The golden gauntlets allows you to lift these big giant black slabs of
Yeah, those pillars.
these massive pillars. Like Link's just
It's
just
such
lifting
a
them like they're
funny
nothing.
animation. Yeah.
Yes, and it's awesome. It's based and awesome at the same time. And one of those slabs is blocking the area where the area right by where the Ganon's tower is floating over that big
chasm. Yeah.
chasm, the lava chasm, and all that. So, and that's how you get the. And they actually included that they would have the damage if you did that. So, I thought I like that. To me, that was a nod to the rings of the original game, in my opinion.
Yeah.
I forget if A Link to the Past did something like that. I don't think it did. Well, maybe it did.
No, I think you do have damage mitigators in that game too.
Yeah, I think when you go into so there's a well right by the blacksmith, and I think when you no, that's half the magic though. When you use the magic power, so in the game, when you go to Lost Woods, you get there's a mushroom, there's an item just there, and you just grab it, you get the mushroom, and then you go to the potion shop. The potion shop's always in the northeast part of the land, and you give it to the witch. And that's actually what's funny is the first time I ever heard double toil and trouble was from Link to the Past.
Really?
And then years later, I heard it in Macbeth. And it was in my junior year of high school, British Lit, when my teacher was basically reading Macbeth to us, and she said that. I laughed out loud. Everybody looked at me.
Teacher, Shakespeare copied Zelda.
I absolutely did not say that, even though it was an honors class. But I absolutely did not say that because I don't think anyone I knew, like I said, no one I knew played. Only one friend I had, and he wasn't in that class, played A Link to the Past. But that's beside the point. But you get the magic powder. You give the mushroom to the witch, and then come back later, and they're like, "Hey, you remember that mushroom you gave us? Well, we have this magic power for you. Just take it. Okay, now you have the magic power. You go in the well. There's like this little bowl that's being held by these evil looking hands. This pillar of hands, and you put it in. A demon appears, and I think the demon, gives you half the magic, but I don't know if he gives you half the health, or not half the health, or halves your damage or something. I don't remember. So.
Well, hey, you're already remembering way more than me.
I played that game so here's my thing. So that game was, I was asking myself, like, I'm not enjoying Breath of the Wild. I was like, maybe I'm going crazy. Maybe I'm going crazy like my friend Prophet of the Dragon. Maybe I'm just losing interest in Zelda.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe I'm just losing it. Maybe I'm not caring. Maybe I'm getting older. I was willing to consider that. I was willing.
Younger.
I was willing to consider it. Then I was like, okay, you know what? I'm going to test this theory out. I'm going to play Link to the Past. I played Link to the Past, and even though it was like the 100th time I played it at that point, still loved it. I still enjoyed it. Played it, sunk right in. Like it was like hanging out with an old friend. So, now even though I like to clown on current Zelda,
Yep.
I do want to revisit, maybe restart and revisit and play through Tears of the Kingdom proper if I have time.
Yeah.
So the problem I had initially when playing it, besides it being Breath of the Wild 2.0, was it just felt like I was wasting the first part of the game. I felt like I was wasting time. Like it felt like it took too long to get from point A to point B to point C to finally getting off that that initial island in the sky or something like that. So
The tutorial area.
yeah, and it just felt too long. Now, what I think is better about Tears of the Kingdom, besides dungeons, I think the shrines are better too, even though the shrines are so crazy. STEM. It's like a STEM. Each shrine is like a STEM project, basically. Like you have to really use your creativity and your problem solving skills.
Some of them spell it out for you, but others are
some of
pretty
them are
tricky.
tough, especially ones where you had to roll. You had to figure out how to roll. You had to weld something to like a rod, and you had to roll the rod. You had to slide down this thing. That's one I remembered, and there was a few other ones that were like I had to really. It took me a while to figure it out.
Once you start kind of figuring out like, okay, these items are really important, I'm going to start keeping a little stockpile. The rockets, for example, Zonai rockets, you fuse one to your shield, you can fly up in the air. If you start experimenting, you're like, what does it look like if I take like a wooden fence and a Zonai rocket and I launch it horizontally? First of all, can I do that? Is it stable? You can have some really a lot of fun, like kind of cheesing those little shrines. Do something like that. Make a surfboard that flies across the room, and like start using recall to get around.
Recall?
The rewind ability.
Oh, okay.
So it's like if I recall this thing that's in motion and I get back on it after it hits the wall over there, hopefully the rocket is still working when I get rid of recall, and it's going to take me back in that trajectory. There's like little things you can do. Become Silver Surfer, basically.
Oh, okay. Yeah, there's like a billion. Yeah, there's like a billion things you can do, and I think that's part of the big. That's why I think is part of the big appeal and why those games are the best selling in the series.
Well, yeah, but I mean, they're not the favorite games of everyone. Look at some of the games that I grew up with. The Incredible Machine on PC was a game where you have a variety of parts and pieces, and you assemble them to make these Rube Goldberg machines. So I've always been into puzzle solving, creative things, a little bit of exploration, taking my time with like the outdoors. I mean, I was just going to say, don't force yourself to try to beat a game as vast as Tears of the Kingdom if you only like, let's say, 20% of it.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I'm already doing that with another game right now.
Yeah, like replay Twilight Princess or replay, Majora's Mask or something instead.
Yeah, right now I'm tackling Red Dead Redemption 2.
Not a fan?
The game starts off very slow. Now, there's so many things you can do in that game. I mean, a lot of people are saying that might be the greatest game of all time.
I've heard that.
So, like, there's a lot of things you can do with the horse alone. Like, you could do you feed the horse, you take care of the horse. There's like so many things you can do other than just following the story. What I liked about the first game, I played the first Red Dead Redemption a while ago.
Yeah.
What I liked about the first game was I was already emotionally invested in the main character and his mission. So the main character in the first game, his name's John Marston. He's in the second game because the second game is a prequel. The first game is him basically his family is basically held hostage by the Pinkerton agency, and they want him to basically find his old gang and kill them. And I was already immediately invested emotionally, and the way the game ends, just damn.
I'll get to it.
I hear the second game is equivalent. There's the second game is considered one of the greatest character one of the greatest
redemption stories or something like that.
It's one of the greatest character studies, and in this case, Arthur Morgan. But the difference is in this game, Arthur Morgan doesn't have a family, so there's no initial emotional stakes or initial there's no initial
stakes
kind of initially, at least not yet. The game is much longer than the first game, so but the point of the game is like, that they're simply it's the same gang, that the people that you hunt in the first game are like supporting characters in the second game because it's a prequel. And you're basically trying to make money so that you can continue to evade the Pinkerton, agency that's out, trying to hunt them down, everything. So, but yeah, you have to eat. Like, your character will lose weight if you don't eat, and he'll be fatigued, and he'll move very sluggishly if you don't feed him. And if he eats too much, he'll get fat. And if you feed him protein, he'll get muscular and all that.
You write these things down on a piece of paper and you slide it over to somebody who's never played a game before, and you're like, these are the reasons why this is one of the best games of all time. And they start reading it. You could feed the horse. You can ride the horse. You can feed your main character. Your main character gets fat. It's like, where are we going with gaming right now? But I know Rockstar, look,
they want to do they want to make it as realistic as possible.
And you know what? Let them. I saw somebody online, they were complaining about it wasn't so much of a complaint, but they said, like, I like modern JRPGs better because there are these neat 30 to 40 hour experiences. Or sorry, I like classic ones. 30 to 40 hour experiences. The modern ones are like 60 plus. I don't have time for that. And they showed a picture of a strategy guide for Wild Arms 3, and there was something like a disclaimer for the final boss fight there saying, hey, make sure you've set aside some time for this. There's 10 phases for you to go through.
Holy crap.
But you know what? I saw that and I was like, that is awesome. Obviously, don't put that in every single game, but it's the third version, or it's the third installment in the series. They want to try something new. Rockstar, they were feeling creative. They got this crazy engine. They want to do a little bit more with Red Dead 2. Knock yourselves out. Like, I'm never going to stop a developer from trying to be ambitious, even if it's not fun gameplay.
Yeah,
I'm not going to say, well, don't make it.
Yeah, I mean, I think part of the appeal is or part of the that what drives developers is just like doing something new and trying to figure out how to implement that new thing, and that's usually the most rewarding aspect of the work, I think, and I that's why they do it. I personally, and I've said this before, I just wish that they didn't fix things that didn't need fixing. I wish a lot of developers didn't fix things that they didn't need fixing. Why not just
you have a couple of games in mind?
Well, I was gonna say Zelda, but
no, a couple more though. A couple more.
I think Final Fantasy needs to kind of go. I mean, I like the remake game quite a bit, but I'm not a big fan of current Final Fantasy as opposed to the older games with the the turn-based system, the active turn-based system, basically.
That's one where I can be persuaded to be on both sides of the argument, and like, I have changed to be whatever the developers want to do, let them do it. We're not, I don't know if we're going to see the same kind of passion to make a game that felt like 1 through 9, for example, right?
Yeah.
That's just not the people who they've staffed today. The people they've staffed are Final Fantasy 13 and onward, action gamers, and I don't know. I'm also somebody who's like, well, I don't need a new game if the old one is replayable.
Yeah, I mean, who's left? I mean, Sakaguchi, who basically created the Final Fantasy series, he's been gone for a long time. Legend Nobuo Uematsu, the composer of the first 10 Final Fantasies. Yeah, he's been gone for a while. He's still with us, gratefully. I already was sick. I was worried. That he didn't have, because a lot of like I've been hearing a lot of Japanese creatives, and like either the anime industry or the game industry have have been dropping like flies. Like the director of Ninja Gaiden recently passed away, the
Oh wow.
original game. So I mean, because they work so freaking hard over in Japan, and
There was a span of a few years, yeah, where a lot of prominent people passed. Toriyama, right?
Toriyama, the creator of Berserk, Kentaro Miura, um, heck, I mean, the godfather of anime himself, like worked himself to death. Osamu Tezuka, basically.
Oh, I thought he was hiding in the Middle East.
No, 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 no. We're not going political. We're not talking about certain.
I don't know. You said Osama.
Osamu. It's Osamu. But yeah, okay, okay. Oh, okay. I get. Okay, I get. I thought you were referencing a certain.
Oh, I'm not talking about any current day war. No, let's not touch that.
Yeah. Okay. Good. All right.
Hey, I have a video game channel. I do not have a politics channel, so I'm gonna keep those two things separate for as long as I want to keep doing gaming.
Separation of gaming and politics. I think the most political game I've ever played has been the Metal Gear Solid games. Have you played all of them?
No. And in fact, the only one that I think I completed was like a garbage Game Boy Color game.
I don't know if I don't even know if I've ever played a Game Boy. Did they even have a Game Boy?
There were weird games on Game Boy. There's a Perfect Dark on Game Boy, I'm pretty sure. There's Metal Gear, like I said. It's like, ooh, how did I get these in my possession? Random games that my cousin had.
Yeah. Okay. Like the third Metal Gear Solid, which they recently re-released, like that's like connected to like real history, connected to the Cuban Missile Crisis, to Khrushchev being ousted by Brezhnev and all that. Apparently
Call of Duty. They're not afraid of touching like some loosely
Yeah.
based on real world politics. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's easy when a war is your context. It's like, well, what wars have happened? Let's just do that.
True. I've never played any of those. I've never played Medal of Honor or Call of Duty or Battlefield. I've never really played any of those. I've never really
they're
played
all
any of
right.
those games.
They have like you turn it down to an easier difficulty, and it's got a little bit of run and gun. It's got a little bit of arcade where guys are just popping out all over on certain parts of the map. I think they're pretty easy games to play with your brain off. And
is it like playing Halo, like stage based, basically?
Yeah, but much more condensed, I would say. Like if you know where to go in Halo, you can bypass some firefights and get to where you need very quickly. Call of Duty, I think, is more condensed, and enemies have smaller life pools. So like you headshot a human, they're dead. That's it.
Okay.
You headshot an elite, it's like still going to need 2 or 3 shots, right?
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Yeah. I forget. Isn't the like the length of a Call of Duty game like really short? Like it's only like 6 hours.
Yeah. Like 10 to 12 missions or something. Easy.
That's why I hear the new Resident Evil is too. It's like it's really short. It's like 8 to 10 hours, and that's it of single player gameplay basically.
To me, doesn't matter. And also, I mean, Resident Evils, they're known for like being good for a second playthrough. Right?
I was gonna ask. I know this is brought up quite a bit. This is something that people debate online about. Do you think because now games are $70? Like, do you think a 10-hour single player game is worth $70?
For me, no. But again, if the developers want to make it and it's AAA quality, let them. Man, I just love buying my games on sale.
Yeah.
And until I get to, a 2026 release, until I get to it in 2028, let's say, I've got a million games from 1990 onward.
Yeah. I remember how expensive those games were in the 90s.
I have a video on that showing how things were more expensive, both on the price tag, and really it's only, well, I mean, in some ways it's a little more expensive today just because your dollar doesn't go as far. But it was something I wanted to look up and just put a more like conclusive video out on. Even with that video, people are still going to say what they feel the answer is. But I did like Canadian inflation. I did the price in Canadian stores. I did from Super Nintendo up until today. It was a fun little bit of research for me.
I forgot you were. I forgot you were in Canada. I forgot
Syrup
about that.
sipper.
Yeah.
I've heard some funnier names for us that I'm not going to repeat.
I'm actually plan on visiting Canada later this year. I'm visit some. I'll tell you about it after the show.
Yeah.
In studio. But yeah, because I was going through looking for catalogs. I was trying to see if I could find some of the catalogs that I remember, because my folks used to get the newspaper all the time, and every quarter there would be a Toys R Us catalog in the newspaper, Sunday paper.
Yep.
And it would show what games they were, what games were on sale. And I remember games being like, as cheap as like $45, $55, heck, even as expensive as $69.99 in the US. And I saw some of the Canadian stuff. It was even higher.
Yeah.
Because of the Canadian dollar or something. So like everything was like 80, 90, $100 back then. And for the Canadian
I pointed out a couple of games that were $100. Yeah. Which is, it sounds mind-boggling, but look at kind of where we are today. Have you seen some of the stupid special editions of games coming out? It's like, we can charge $120 for this.
No.
It's like, but I mean, again, let them do whatever they want. But I just find it funny that these people are in their original budget for creating and developing their games. Anyways, they act like they have to make more money because they're releasing something more. But
can you spit out an example of one of those special, really expensive?
I think the latest one I saw to hit an obscene price point was like one of the Trails games. Trails is just a long-running JRPG series. Most recently, you would have seen it pop up because the first game, Trails in the Sky, got a complete remake, and everyone's saying, hey, play this. It's approachable, looks great. The combat's got some great quality of life, endearing characters, interesting political intrigue. So that series, which has something like 15 plus entries, I think Trails 2 remake that's coming out, they've done something probably involving like a figurine or a giant figure or something like that. And I think the number that I saw floating around for it was $200.
Whoa, holy crap.
I mean, if I'm mixing it up and it's not actually Trails, whatever, not the end of the world, but the JRPGs, I know a lot of them like to do it because the people who play JRPGs just happen to like figurines. But what else have we seen? We've seen in the West Cyberpunk. They had, what was it, the car that they had as a plastic thing? People always do that sort of thing.
I remember first reading about that game.
Yeah.
Like, what, this sounds interesting. I mean, I've never played. I mean, I have The Witcher. I have The Witcher 3 in my collection, but I've never really played anything by CD Projekt Red. So I'm hearing about this game. I'm like, okay, this game was delayed a few times, and now it's going to be released. I watched a few people I know stream it, and it was awful. It looked like one of the worst things.
Oh, you can't
when it first released.
You're not going to get attached to the characters. You're not going to get sucked into the world if you watch stream.
Yeah, I saw like it was broken in many places and all that.
Okay, well that did happen. Fair enough. Yeah. In early versions, that was the case of the game. Thankfully, not for me when I played it last year.
Did you play through the entire thing?
Yeah, oh yeah. Okay. I did Cyberpunk 2077 last year. Really enjoyed it, and that's despite not being a fan of all of the transhumanist stuff. Like, some of the characters are just tough to look at. They've replaced portions of their face with robotic parts. And it's like, ooh, okay, hey, that could happen in 2077, but kind of gives me the heebie-jeebies when I see it up close. And The Witcher 3 also had a great engrossing and immersive world and story, but I got to that point by learning the characters in Witcher 1, Witcher 2, and then Witcher 3. But yeah, CD Projekt Red, I'm a fan of theirs for sure.
You played the first 2 Witchers?
Yeah, they were really good. Witcher 1
Okay.
especially.
All right. Okay. I mean, because like it seems like because of I think Witcher 1 and 2 were not released on console. They were only released on
Correct. Yep. PC games.
if I remember, if I recall. So yeah. Okay. I think it's the only reason why I haven't played them, because I've never had a. It's not until now. Now I have a gaming PC, but before I've never had a gaming PC before, so I never played games on the computer. I was a console. I grew up as a you know me. I grew up with Nintendo. So Nintendo consoles was my game was my childhood basically. So it was my babysitter. All the kids now have screens and tablets. I had my TV. Well, I had a little TV, and I had my game console basically. I turn on whenever I wasn't doing homework basically. So
I mean, maybe I'm biased, but I'm gonna say our babysitters, our screens taught us way better than what these ones today are doing.
Yeah, I mean, like Zelda. I mean, I've said this before. Zelda, I mean, helped me with reading. I developed a bigger vocabulary because I read the text and all that.
Yeah.
Sometimes my parents would help me. My parents would watch me play. They would actually be interested in what I was doing in Zelda, and they would help. Sometimes they would help me figure out, or help me read, or help me figure out what to do next. I shared with you about Mario RPG. On one of your videos. Like that game really taught me how to basically make quick decisions.
Yes.
So I mean, the rule of gaming for me growing up was, if you see it, kill it. And I always would spam I would always spam the attack button.
Yeah.
So, but Mario RPG kind of I was forced to unlearn that and be a little bit more strategic in my decision making.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought that was, and it paved the way for me playing like Chrono Trigger and of course the Final Fantasy games, which are way more advanced than Mario RPG. Mario RPG is like for beginners, in my opinion. So yeah, it was heck, I think it even prepared me for. I played Gen 1 of Pokemon. I actually played. My brother had the game, and I played it. And I actually got hooked on I didn't play Gen 2. My friend played Gen 2. My friend played Silver and Gold. I still haven't played it to this day. Those
are still worth playing. Worth it.
Yeah, I told my friend. I haven't talked to him. I haven't talked to him in years since I think we kind of lost touch by the time we graduated. But I promised him I would play Gold and Silver one day.
Yeah, you got time, don't worry.
So, but yeah, so yeah, we barely talked about movies. So you got any movies you want to recommend? We did AC. We did talk. I did bring this stream down. We did talk a little bit about Star Trek. So it's a good thing you missed it. Yeah, every time I bring up Star Trek, he just like, not again.
Hey, I was listening. I was listening about Star Trek. That was my involvement there.
Yeah. So I know. So yeah. So you brought up the Truman Show before. What were the other? You said you didn't like Citizen Kane.
Yep.
You said you only watched like a few other movies. Do you remember what other movies you watched?
Oh man, I'm struggling to remember what I saw last year. I've just got such a long list of movies, and every year I seem to spend a little more time gaming and less time on TV and movies. And just with the direction that a lot of the writing, the quality, the storytelling, I'm chopping movies off my backlog that are from, let's just say, 2010 onward. I check out a couple here and there. I'm like, they're not that good. And I'm more interested in, let's just say, revisiting Old Boy, a Korean movie that released, I think, in the 2000s, which I watched. I've watched a part of it. I never got to finish it. That's like a movie that I wanted to go back to because it's a good one. I did watch, actually, one of the horror movies that came out, Weapons. That was one of the movies from last year.
Weapons.
Yes, it is a movie where without giving anything away, I will say kids go missing in a little bit of a small town suburb vibe.
Okay.
Kids go missing. They all happen to be missing from one teacher's classroom. So the movie opens up with all of this stress that the teacher's having to endure. The parents are falsely accusing her of being behind it for some reason. And it starts to build up this tension that is like, oh man, someone is going to snap and hurt this lady who I'm only assuming is innocent from what I've seen so far. And it starts to get into some other themes that are a little bit off the wall. But
Okay.
it was good. But it's like, okay, so this is kind of what they're doing with horror movies these days. They're trying to get you to think a little bit more. They're trying to make it a little more mystery. Oh, there's an open-ended part at the end where you can, use your interpretation. I don't know. It's just like sometimes just give me a clear-cut movie the way that it would have been done decades ago and just make it good.
Yeah, when it comes to horror, like I'm more like I think everybody talks 80s. I like horror movies from the 70s. The 70s the 70s cinema is so cynical. Like if you watch like a thriller, like a suspense thriller, don't expect the good guy to win. There's been a lot of movies in the 70s where the bad guys win.
Oh, speaking of about the 70s, if I'm remembering correctly, I watched the first Dawn of the Dead.
Dawn of the Dead is a great movie.
Yeah.
It is so violent.
That was fun. That was
It
like,
was
to me, it was not an amazing movie, but it was a fun movie. And again, I'm trying to like put myself in the shoes of somebody who's seeing it for the first time decades ago. Okay, this is actually terrifying. I get it. Today, I try to watch it with an appreciation for what it is, but the other aspects, like basically everything was good except for that stupid, the main white character who is like the military background.
Yeah.
When he's goofing off between the trucks, that was just like way too blatantly written for him to have a stumble. It's like, oh, his cockiness got the best of him. But come on, even if you're a cocky guy, that's not going to happen.
No, it's not.
But aside from little slip-ups like that, it was a pretty good movie. And I watched that actually to see how much Dead Rising took inspiration from it. So that was actually for a video game project.
Quite a bit, because that also takes place in a mall, shopping mall. So
I do think that's where the similarity stops and ends, or starts and stops. But yeah.
The I if you like Dawn of the Dead, I highly recommend you watch Day of the Dead, which was the
immediate sequel.
Yeah,
is that what that is? Yeah,
it came on that one. So Dawn of the Dead came on 78. Day of the Dead came on 85.
Oh man, how do you know these dates? Jeez.
Well, I used to read the TV Guide.
Your recollection, though, even in the games that you played, when you're describing the parts that you remember, it is, as far as I know, it's spot on.
There's a lot of things I forget.
That's okay. That's okay.
I have incredible ADHD, so like I sometimes have a hard time remembering, like at work, and I have to remember something, I will forget it. So it's weird. It's weird how that works. It's weird how that works for me. So.
Well, hey, I think I still remember the original 151 Pokemon. So the things that
you remember all 151,
the things that become ingrained in our memory. Yeah.
I just remember, like, you have your Charmanders and your Bulbasaurs and your Squirtles and your Pikachus. Your psychic Pokemon.
Stuff that you actually study, and it's like you got grilled on. It's like, oh, do I remember like the names of 150 bones and organs? No, probably not. Muscles?
Probably not. No. Yeah. So it depends on what you care about and what interests you. That helps you, in my opinion, helps you remember better. So if you really enjoy, playing video games, or you really enjoy movies and stuff, and it just brings you delight and happiness, you're going to remember it, as opposed to something that as opposed to, unfortunately, work
Yeah.
I mean, there is an incentive. Like I do try to incentivize myself, but there's a lot of things to remember. And if you get something wrong, it gets stressful. And when things get stressful, it makes, in my opinion, for me, it makes me want to forget it. And then I forget it. And then that full circle, it starts that problem again. But that's a story for another day. So, oh yeah, it's been. I think we did longer than I expected. So,
Yeah, me
yeah, this
too.
is
I
great.
told you like an hour to an hour and a half because it's an hour later for me here. But yeah,
it was a great conversation. I really enjoyed
Brian,
it.
do you mind if I refresh just so I can be on camera for our farewell?
Sure, go ahead.
Okay, sorry. This is going to cost us 30, 60 seconds. I'll be right back. Thank you, Brian.
No problem. So I don't know who's still here. There's one person here, so I don't know who's still here. But yeah, this is I think we're gonna do another. So I don't have anything planned for next week. But I'm in 2 weeks. I'm gonna bring back Matt, and we're gonna be talking more politics. So Fall Ball Productions gonna be coming back. We're gonna be talking some politics, and we'll sprinkle in some entertainment there too. So but yeah, I have nothing next week. I have to. I know we were supposed to. AC, I don't know if you're still here. We should do something sometime. I don't know how free you are. I do the thing the date you want to, but you know, oh yeah, there he is, and no, still no camera.
It just it's completely unrecognizable. It completely changed. Anyways.
Yeah, now I just see the OBS thing.
Oh well, that's lame. That's not how I wanted to say goodbye, but
well, maybe it was not. Maybe it was just. I mean, you were. I mean, well, there you go.
I'll put the Leo back. There you go.
There you go. Base Leo with the.
Yeah.
I kind of want to play that game now. I want to play as Leo, with the sword, with the. I'm thinking of. Yeah. Which game has the dog, not the dog, the wolf? Which
Kami.
Isn't there isn't there a Dark Souls game where you have like a
Dark
dog
Souls
or a wolf with
he has
he has the blade in his mouth, and he's tough to play. That's what I'm thinking right now. I want to do something. I'd like to play a game where you play as the dog with the blade in his mouth, and you get to control.
Hey man, keep tuning into my International Dog Day videos. I don't know, people probably just see I upload that and they're like, okay, well, I'm not clicking on that. I subscribe to him for games, but every episode I'm doing 5 good games that feature dogs, whether it's prominently featuring them or just as a minor character, doesn't matter. Good games that feature dogs. So we'll see if there's any sword wielding dogs in this year's 5 episodes. I've done 2 episodes so far.
I always think of you remember in Ocarina when you're in the Hyrule castle town?
Yes, the little terriers running around.
Little terriers running around, and the white and the white one follows the
lady's dog
follows you, and then you follows you into the house, and then she gives you the heart piece. Yeah, I love that.
That, by the way, that little example of programming to have the dog come with you, and it like does the door transition to like go into the new scene.
Yeah,
even as a kid, that kind of blew my mind.
Yeah, because I wasn't expecting it to work.
Yeah,
at all. So that shocked me to see that worked.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought that was fantastic. Yeah. I liked all the surprise. Another thing I really liked about that game was all the surprise, the different ways you could get a heart piece.
Yes.
In that game. Unlike the current one, which is basically it's all you complete the shrines, you get your choice of the piece of heart or the piece of the stamina.
In its presentation, it's different, but essentially get to the end of the short puzzle and you get a prize. It's just Tears of the Kingdom, Breath of the Wild, they tack on exchanging it. Like rather than it being a direct heart piece, it's just here's a token, true. Go exchange it. But the structure is similar enough. Speaking of Ocarina of Time, though, another part that I thought of that impressed me in Kakariko, Remember having to chase the cuckoos around?
Yes.
And I think there's one instance where if you go up the stairs that's leading to the windmill, you have a cuckoo in your hands,
Yeah.
and you jump and glide, there's a building just a little bit across. It's actually the
Yes.
building with a roof on top of the pen. And it's got the little straw roof where if you walk into it, you can take the cuckoo inside.
Really?
Yeah,
I've
there's like
never done
something.
that.
I think you can, anyways, because it's not actually a door. It's just an open space, but there's
Yeah.
still the indoor-outdoor transition there. I think
Hmm.
you can take a cuckoo, and that's another example of how did they do this back then?
Yeah. Yeah. I'm trying to recall that now. Because I remember, like, I was struggling to find all 7 of the cuckoos,
Oh yeah.
and there was a few that were like on the other side. Like I would try to glide. So there's like you have the well. So think of the layout of
Yep.
Kakariko. You have the well there.
Oh, dude, it's burned into my mind.
You have the windmill. You have the upper path that takes you to the windmill.
Yep.
And then there's like a cage. There's like a big giant
Yes.
fence. I would try to. I was like, there's no way for me to get to that section where I can climb up the where the windmill is. So well, not where the climb up the upper area above the windmill, and that's where
Above it,
that's
right?
where one of
But
the
just
you know what I'm
below
talking
it,
about,
there
right?
is that little hill that you can walk on, but
And
above it,
there
correct.
the door there is is the back door to the potion shop. The old woman, I think.
Oh, in
Um,
Ocarina, is that where that is? Now I
yeah,
can't remember that specifically
I
now, but
don't. Yeah, I think when you're a kid, the potion shop is not open for business, and
okay.
somebody's blocking the way when you go in there.
I have
Um,
the only thing coming to mind is the Majora's Potion Shop right now. I can't even get that out of my head. Okay.
oh, with
Kame or whatever she's
Kome or
called. Yeah.
Kotake or
Yeah.
something. Yeah, not the standard old woman.
Yeah. Yeah.
Uh, if you know what I'm talking about. Um, but yeah, I use a Kuko to get to another Kuko. Basically, the Kuko
Hmm.
is all the way up by where the windmill tower is, and all that, and you have to get up there and move that down.
And
I was like,
wasn't that an instance where it kind of terrified you because in order to get the second, you had to throw down your first?
yes,
And it's like, can I really do this? Is it going to fly away? Am I okay to throw it away?
yeah, and apparently it was fine. So yeah,
Yep. That's just like that little isolated area is an example of pretty incredible game design because they take something that's just they got the number of the birds right, not too many, not too few. The time that you spend there is also like making it feel like a significant chunk of the town and the experience. Like it's probably only like a couple of minutes, but it feels like you spend a good 15 minutes talking to the lady who owns them,
yeah.
uh, gathering the birds,
I
looking
think
for them your first
isn't her
time.
name also Anju, like in
I think
Majora's
it is
Mask?
Andrew, yeah.
Yeah,
Like the innkeeper's granddaughter in
but there's no what's his name in Majora's Mask? His mask was it
Cafe.
Koke? Cafe.
Yeah.
There's no Cafe in. I think Cafe
No,
is an original character from Majora's Mask. I don't think he was in.
correct.
No, he wasn't in Ocarina. I love that storyline, by the way, in Majora's Mask. So.
So good. First time I saw it as a kid, my brother had to do it for us the first time. He's 6 years older. So he took the reins for arguably the most challenging quest in the game. And
Yeah,
witnessing that, so good.
yeah, that playing through that final part where you have to
The
chase
bad
and
guy,
chase
Saikon.
the thief. Yeah, the thief guy he's in the Hyrule Castle town. It's the same guy, I think, isn't it?
Oh, is he in Hyrule Castle in Ocarina?
In the castle town, he's kind of like running around with a
Oh,
bat.
yes, yes.
I think that's the same guy.
Clocktown in
Yeah,
Majora. Yeah.
yeah,
He's the guy who on day one, he steals the lady's purse.
yes,
And when you enter his hideout, it is called Thieves' Hideout, I think.
yes.
Yeah.
I forgot about that. That actually, I was actually like, really, I was like, wow, they made this guy they made this guy evil. I was like, holy crap, I was shocked. So, I liked going back to Kakariko.
Yeah.
I liked how they made it different between the child
Yes.
and the adult era. So, because in the child era, the carpenters are the carpenter and his workers are all there running around,
Yep.
and you see like the bare bones, like the bones
The
of
framework,
the
basically.
building, which yeah, the framework of a building, which I think eventually becomes one of the shooting
The archery
becomes
game.
the
Yeah, I think
archery
so.
art shooting gallery, basically the archery
Yep.
game. um so I liked how that changed. I liked how that changed over time. One thing I wish they would have done, that they didn't do. So the only other kid in the game that Link encounters is the little kid in the graveyard, the little kid with the stick and all that.
Do you encounter him as
Pretending.
an adult?
No, I don't.
Oh,
At
oh,
least I
so that's
don't.
not
At
where you're
least I
going.
don't think you do.
No, I
No,
don't
I
think
don't
so.
think you.
No.
I don't think you do. I was curious. Like I think it would have been interesting to see that kid as an adult or a
Yeah.
teenager, at least
Yeah.
as an older kid, a new design or something. So
Brian, you know, with these games being around for so long and the number of fans they have, there I've seen fan theories about what happened to that kid.
really,
They're like, he's dead.
that's what I've heard. That's what I've heard too. And when I was younger, I actually thought that, like
I
if you didn't see a character, they died in the conflict
I'm
that
trying to
Link
remember
missed.
one that may have been plausible. Like he tried to get into the family's tomb or
Hmm.
tomb, sorry, and he was killed because it's like there's Poes out there or something. I don't know.
There's Pose, or what are those? What are those brown undeads? Redeads. There's redeads. So
The
maybe
tall ones are redeads, yeah.
well, if maybe he fell into the song of not the song of time. That's the song. Was it which one is it? Which one goes da 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 da, and
Sun
then
Song, I think it's called.
the sun song. Yeah, the
That's
sun
all they
song.
call it, right? Sun
Yeah.
Song.
So he falls in the tomb of the royal family,
Yeah.
and then a reed he happens upon he doesn't have Link's ability to teleport,
Oh no, gets mauled to death
and
down
then
there.
he gets his soul sucked out by the reed dead, and that's what happens to the.
There you
It doesn't.
go.
Now he's
See?
not a kid though. He's a teenager
Yeah,
to make this more palatable. I
sure.
can't. I one thing I can't stand is when kids get killed
Oh,
in a
so
violent way.
you weren't able to watch the first 3 minutes of A Quiet Place? You see, it's not really a spoiler. It's just the first 3 minutes.
that was a tough. That was a tough one. That was a tough one.
I didn't like it. Like, I wondered. It wasn't necessary.
Yeah.
Okay, you think about what it actually impacted for the viewer. For the viewer, it puts the parents into a state of heightened alert, more trauma. But the only thing that is unique from having lost their kid is more trauma. They would have still been on high alert. Oh, well, now they're
Yeah.
on even more high alert because, it could cost you.
And they never talk. I don't think they ever. I don't. I mean, it's a quiet place, so there's not a whole lot of talking in the movie. But I forgot that the kid existed.
Yes.
So if even like you said, even if the kid, if there was no kid, it would have been the same thing. So
You know what's so funny? It's like the movie was written to have X number of characters, and then they wrote an extra child in for the intro because it's like, well, we already have the perfect number of characters for a movie like this. One more is just too many, but we can kill one.
Yeah, and with kids, it's a tough one. Like there's a movie, Doctor Sleep. It's basically it's a sequel to The Shining, basically.
Okay.
And a kid's walking home from Little League, from a Little League game, and the bad guys just suck it. Literally do what I just described. They suck. The villain, the witch villain, basically sucks his soul, and the kid's screaming and struggling, and the kid dies. And I got so upset watching that part.
Is that a sequel also by Stephen King or what?
They made a book.
He has a weird fixation on things with kids. I don't know. I don't like his material. Dogs, kids. It's like,
yeah,
it is twisted. I'm sorry. I'm not going to be a fan of somebody like that. I can imagine the weirdest stuff too. I could imagine the creepiest, most violent, most perverted, whatever. I have an imagination. I don't need to read like 200 pages of someone's novel or watch 2 hours of basically gratuitous violence, like you said earlier, or anything like that.
Yeah. I think the best stuff is left to the best movies. Leave the really violent, the really messed up stuff to the imagination.
Yeah, that is a fine tool for movies. You don't get it as much in games, funny enough, but fine tool for movies.
Yeah, like so for instance, Psycho.
Mm-hmm.
You never see the blade penetrate the woman. It had that happen. Hitchcock would have had a lot of problems with the board, with the ratings board. Yeah.
Oh, with the ratings. Oh,
yeah, with the ratings board. So basically, you just see the knife move and the actress
the shadows,
reacts.
right?
Yeah, the shadows.
They shoot the bathtub screen, the curtain, right? If I'm remembering the scene correctly.
Yeah, you see the blade move, and then she just you don't see it penetrate her. You just see it. You see her react, and you hear something. And what they used for the movie, I think, was like a cantaloupe. So you stab a cantaloupe, and that sound was what they used in the movie.
Wow!
To make it seem real.
Perfect.
Like to make us believe that she was actually being hacked. She was being hacked to death and all that. So, but yeah, that I don't know if you've ever seen Hitchcock. That's a great movie. That's a movie from start to finish that is really engaging, really good. Can't keep your eyes off of it. It's from start to finish, in my opinion.
I should watch it in full, start to finish. I think what I did is I watched a truncated version because my intention was to watch American Psycho. But I was like, okay, let me.
American Psycho is a totally different bird.
I was like, let me at least go through Psycho, and the truncated version was probably like 15 minutes or something.
Yeah, and with American Psycho, you have to return some videotapes.
Yeah, and American Psycho, speaking of like scenes I don't like, man, the homeless guy, come on.
Yeah, true.
Yeah. Anyways.
But yeah, one movie that I haven't watched a whole lot of horror or thrillers this past fall. I usually do like a horror movie thing called Serial Horror Chat or something. And I haven't done a whole lot with it, but I did see a movie that I really liked. It's a movie that came out in 1980, directed by Brian De Palma. I don't know if you know who Brian De Palma is. He directed Carrie, which was another Stephen King. Yep. So he directed the original 70s Carrie. He directed the first Mission Impossible movie. He directed He directed the Al Pacino Scarface. And he's done a whole bunch of psychological thrillers. In the guise of, in a ways, he's kind of like a successor to Hitchcock in a way, with how he does stuff, and he does do a lot of the same techniques. The movie I'm talking about, he did in 1980. It's called Dress to Kill.
Okay.
And Dress to Kill is not a slasher. So 1980s, when you think of psychological thriller, or when you think of thrillers or horror, you think slashers. This movie was not a slasher. This movie was a thriller, and in my opinion, based on what I've seen, it's a deconstruction of Psycho, of Alfred Hitchcock's Psycho. So a lot of the same, if you will see a lot of the same beats, but they're different. So they're like, it builds up to you get this main character, this woman, and she's like the star for half the movie, and then midway through the movie she gets offed by someone dressed up as a woman, basically. So kind of like with Psycho.
Yeah.
But there's a segment that I really enjoyed that had almost nothing to do with like that aspect of the story. So there's just this whole section where she's trying to, she's bored. This main character's bored. So she's at the Philadelphia Art Museum, and the camera just follows her into the entire, like she's walking throughout the gallery, and the camera is either following her or is in front of her as she's walking, and as the viewer you get an idea of how the entire gallery is laid out, and everything as you're watching it. And it's a scene with very little dialogue. It's like it's just her acting and her trying to get the attention of a dude so she can, have an affair and,
Oh yeah.
sleep with someone. Basically, that's all it is. And it's all with no dialogue. And it's a good scene. It's a good scene. And then when she leaves the gallery, and I missed this the first time, which makes a rewatch necessary. A certain character shows up in a very brief shot where the camera like pans, and you see the character, this very important character, and you don't realize it at first. That's how good it was. So
I love stuff like that, little touches, which it's not like they don't happen in modern movies and modern productions. Like there are still talented people who can think to place those things everywhere, but it feels like those efforts were so much more deliberate in older movies and older games too. And I feel like a lot of that comes from the limitations too. It's like, what can we add here just to make this a little bit better? And, I sometimes compare this, I've brought it up before, with the music of old games, for example. They were so much more limited in what they could do. There was more of an emphasis on good melodies. Melodies carry music for me.
That's
and
right.
I think that's where I have a preference for the older game music, because the melodies are so strong. Movies.
I mean,
though,
a lot of music. Yeah, a lot of music now is mostly in games now, and heck, even movies to a degree, is really forgettable.
Yeah. Yep.
I mean, you do feel some atmosphere, but it's mostly forgettable. Like compare like one of the later Final Fantasies, for instance, to something like Chrono Trigger or anything by Nobuo Uematsu or something, or heck, the Xenoblade. I mean, I don't remember. I honestly don't even remember the Xenoblade Chronicles soundtrack. But compared to the Xenogears soundtrack by Yasunori Mitsuda, who did Chrono Trigger, like the Xenogears soundtrack is way more memorable and way more melodic.
I didn't even know you played Xenoblade Chronicles. Interesting.
I remember when Reggie was running Nintendo of America.
I remember
and
that.
He was he opposed them releasing the three big JRPGs on the
Operation
Wii,
Rainfall or whatever it was called. Games brought over.
So it was Xenoblade Chronicles, the Xenoblade Chronicles, the last story by Hironobu Sakaguchi, creator of Final Fantasy, and I think Nobuo did the music. That game was forgettable. But I did play through it, and then they did. There was another one called Pandora's Tower. That game was just tough. I DNF'd that one, but yeah, that's when I played it. For the Wii. It was that long ago that I played. I haven't played the remake or the remaster. They how many times did they re-release it? They re-released it for the 3DS, I think.
3DS,
and then for the Switch, right?
Wii U, and then the Switch. And the Switch being a different version, being the remake, I guess you could call it.
Yeah, and then I did play a little bit of Chronicles X, but I DNF'd that one.
Yeah.
I could, even with the first Xenoblade game, I just didn't really grasp the system, the battle system. Like everything seemed automatic.
Yeah, the game
I didn't feel like I was
positioning early on, and later when you finally have abilities, like way more skills, then it's more involved, and it's like, oh, I can focus more on like this kind of tank or this kind of damage dealer.
Yeah, I didn't feel like I was in control of anything compared to like when you play like the active turn-based ones. Like I control like this person will fight, or this person will cast a spell.
But you know what it's like comparable to?
Like I directly
like those early levels of Final Fantasy where you can only attack, flee, and you have like one magic spell. You have fire.
Yeah.
So it's like it's a little boring sometimes because you're using fire in every battle and you got to get, let's say, 20 hours in to have a whole arsenal of spells.
Yeah.
It's kind of like that, except yes, there's the feeling of even more automation because your characters literally auto attack.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Auto. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, yeah. And then I know they came out with 2 and 3.
Yep.
Didn't you play? Did you play 2?
Yep, did a review for it earlier this year. AC warned me a little bit about the kinds of people I might butt heads with over it because I didn't give it a 10 out of 10. And I said the story was pretty garbage. I mean, like that's my overall quick assessment. You know, it's a little tongue in cheek as well, but yeah, there was somebody who really went in on flaming me, saying I didn't understand the story. Because obviously it is one of the best stories ever written. So if I don't like it, like that's on me, Brian.
Yeah, it totally is. I mean, like, you know, what is any other series? What is any other game? Chrono Trigger, Final Fantasy 6. What is that compared?
Oh my God, Final Fantasy 10. I remembered saying to somebody who again wanted to like mess with me a little bit. I was like, you know what? The story was fine. I thought there were bits that didn't really come together, and only after playing the game and everyone talking about it for hundreds of hours does like, oh, the story makes sense. I think when you play Final Fantasy X, there are confusing parts. And all he came back to me with was, well, if you were confused by it, then you must not be very smart. It's like, oh my God.
You have like
you little mongrels.
Like people say, oh, 10 is my favorite game. I'm like, how? Like I've played all the I've played the first 10. That game is probably the most forgettable out of all of them, of the first 10.
I wouldn't go that far, but
I barely remembered it. I mean, the only thing I remember is that when you kill someone, you have to like, you don't kill them. You have to like perform a ritual in order for them to pass into the next life, or they become something worse. And I was like, what is this? This is and then I mean, the only thing I remembered was that the main character and the Xanarkin place was all a dream or something. So it faded away, and I was like,
hey, oh, no offense to the Chrono Trigger fans, but gamers have some serious bias when it comes to time travel stories. Like, people see time travel in a video game and they go, this is the best thing ever.
That game is almost the best thing ever. So, man, that game hooked me right away. My friends told me about that game, and I played it in college, and I couldn't stop playing it. Like,
fair enough.
It got in the way of me doing. It got in the way of some of my homework. So, that's how good it was.
That's the mark of a good one. It's like, oh man, you ruined my life.
It was actually, it was like my next step post Super Mario RPG to build some of my RPG skills. Yeah. So I liked the game a lot. I liked the different endings. There are different ways to play it, different ways to beat the game and all that. So I thought it was I really enjoyed it. I love the sound. I love the Mitsuda soundtrack, obviously. And yeah, I mean, and there's a rumor that they're remaking it.
Yeah.
I don't know how to feel about that because they already remade it. So
if the game deserves one word at least, innovative, I think is a good one for it. From the battle system to the
I like the tech. I like the tech attacks where you got to combine you got to combine stuff with another character.
Text.
I thought that
so cool.
Yeah. So it really incentivized you switching up party members and all that.
I've played a game that does that better just because of the modern capabilities. I Am Setsuna. It's a game that takes place entirely in a winter environment. The story is a little bit slower. The emotional attachment is not quite there. But like if somebody just wanted to play like, give me Chrono Trigger combat, I'd say go play I Am Setsuna.
I've heard that one. So yeah. Okay. All right, I'll keep that one. I've heard of that one.
Yeah.
All right, so
Ryan, I'm reaching my limit here.
yeah, I know. All right, so
yeah.
anything you want to promote?
Oh, promotions. Just anybody who's curious, likes a variety of gaming topics, and from reviews to discussions, check out my channel, The Legend of Leo on YouTube. If you see my little dog as the mascot, you've got the right channel. And, recently I've really been enjoying doing reviews. I do them whenever there's a game I feel like it deserves attention, or if there's a game that I put a lot of time into, I get a little more out of it if I then do a review on it. But the playlists there have so many other things to look at, different game recommendations, different, we'll say, ways of spotlighting games, whether it's focusing on their environments or their atmospheres. I've got some videos like that. And Brian, I think you actually found me through one of the Food for Thought playlist videos, where I just take a variety of gaming topics, whatever I'm in the mood to talk about, and I do a little video talking to the camera about it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I think that's the one that AC shared with me, and that's how that's how I found you. And then it's been
3 years.
In 3 years. Can you believe that? It's crazy.
I can't believe how many years have passed, period, dude.
Yeah, jeez. I know. Same here. So, but yeah, I already basically shared what I think my next one's gonna be in 2 weeks. So,
yeah.
So that's gonna be a little bit more. That's gonna be a little bit more political. The next chillporeal. So, yeah. So we'll see what happens then. But yeah, man, Justin, I really appreciate you being here. It's a shame that your camera just kind of failed on you, but I like your Leo. I like your Leo.
Had a backup ready. Yeah,
you did. So, but yeah, definitely. Will there be a part 4? So will there be a part 4?
Talk to me next year.
All right. Because I was gonna ask, Justin, have you ever been to a Turkish prison? Do you like gladiator movies? Have you ever seen a grown man naked? If you've ever seen Airplane, you know what I'm talking about.
Oh man, I was like, how do I answer all those questions?
Yeah, that. But yeah, so the conclusion of the trilogy is here. But there will be a part 4 because I guess it's gonna be the chillporeal cinematic universe now or something.
Quadrologies are cool too. Tetralogies? I don't know what the. I think it's
tetralogies. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, all right, but yeah, all right. I'm tired too. So, all right, everybody, thanks, care.
Brian. Thank you, everybody.
Thanks, Justin. Thank you for it was a great conversation. Conversations never are. Every conversation we have is great.
We go all over, man.
All over. So
you know what? Hold on. Before we take off, if we remember to get to this, part 4, I feel like you and I would have a really good in-depth, nitty-gritty, like high-resolution conversation about things like structure of movies, writing, games, whatever. When you were talking about the different shot, and then you notice that little Easter egg, not an Easter egg, but you notice the character the second time you view that movie in that specific shot.
Yeah.
I sometimes watch older movies with my mom. Cary Grant is one of my favorite actors. And I love the wide shots. I love the continuous shots of a scene. You get to see the scene just kind of like if you focus on a side character, someone in the background, they go from having a conversation with one person to walking into the building, for example, little things like that. I would love to just, I don't know how interesting it is. It's not a widespread thing because, people have to kind of be well-versed in the movies or the shows or whatever we talk about. But if you want to really break down something, I'd love to do that.
Cary Grant? Heck yeah. North by Northwest, bro. North by Northwest.
Okay, hey, get back on Cary Grant a year from now.
Yeah, and I still got to see Truman Show, and you know what? To Catch a Thief is another one I think is a good one, a good Cary Grant one to talk about that I think has an interesting cinematography. So,
okay,
all right, everybody, we're signing off for sure now. Okay, all right, everybody, take care, have a good weekend, stay safe.